name's Hassan Latif, and I'm Executive Director of Second Chance Center here in Aurora, Colorado. That's a good question, because I think everyone that comes here has a different expectation, and it's usually based on a couple of things. One, their personal need, and two, the kind of things they may have heard. We do a lot of what we call pre-release transition planning. So we go inside of all Colorado correctional facilities and meet with folks. And so pretty much people know the general services that we provide. Beyond that, I think the expectation goes to knowing that so many of us on staff have actually, been there, done that. Out of 5 of us on staff, we cumulatively have about 110 years of incarceration time. So many of the folks that are coming here, it's almost like old homecoming sometimes. They've walked around prison yards with us. What people don't understand is, when you're inside, we usually know who's coming back to prison before they even catch a case, because we hear what things are going on in the streets and we know where that's going to lead. Likewise, when someone's out in the community and they're doing things that are positive and that are noteworthy, and particularly those things that are perhaps impactful for those that are waiting to come out, people talk about that too. So they're very excited about Second Chance Center in prisons, because they know that we understand what they're going to be facing, we understand what they've gone through, we understand the needs, we understand the skill sets that are going to be required to make the adjustments in their lives and in their thinking that's going to foster success out here. So, but generally they want help, and they want to be welcomed, and that's not always possible in families that they may have damaged, or in communities that they may have been running ramshod through, or welcome is a big part of it. Well, actually I do. This case management work we do is a generally accepted title for managing client care. We don't call our folks case managers, because our people have been cases probably all their lives for the most part. And so we call them care managers. And basically because we want to emphasize that you're not just a case to us. We care about your success. We care about the kind of struggles that you have faced and are probably going to continue to face. And I think people get that. Someone asked me once about, actually it was some folks connected to a big hospital here in the area, and they were asking me what I thought they should know about this population coming through. And one of the things I stressed was their facilities being welcoming. And sometimes big bureaucratic kinds of entities are intimidating for folks coming home and not having experience navigating them. But I also said to them that they have to respect folks. And I don't just mean treating people respectfully. I mean, if I treat you respectfully, that really says more about me than about you. It speaks to how I was raised. It speaks to the choice of approach to interaction with another human being. I want it to be respectful. We believe that to really respect people, you have to see them. And I mean see them, not as a box checked off, not as a number that you met, not as, but for their struggles and for their victories and for their deficits and, for their pain and for their hopes. You have to be able to see. And I think when folks come in here, they get that from the care management team. People actually see them for who they are, and that's a big difference, I think. That's a great question, and we consider ourselves a big part of the community fabric, in that we believe that successful transition is a matter of community health, overall community health. We also see ourselves as being a part of the equation where it concerns public safety. You know, we weren't always viewed like that. When we first started, the first two people I brought on, our deputy director, Sean Taylor, and our mentoring coordinator, Adam Abdullah, the three of us together had 75 years in prison, so people were looking at us through a really big microscope, and rightfully so, wondering what are these guys up to, including the local law enforcement, including parole. And over these last several years, 3 or 4 years, I think they've come to see us as a partner in these ways because, one, we haven't had one police contact incident in the Second Chance Center in our existence. And we're very proud of that. And part of it is because we think we establish a safe environment for folks, and we set the standard for interaction that's respectful and welcoming, and our people pick that up. You know, it's like, you don't want to crap where you eat, you know, and so that has helped us establish our place in the community. Secondly, when we first started doing this work in earnest, we just kind of kept our head down, we stayed in our lane, you know, and this video aside, I'm not really a photo op type of guy, and so for the first couple of years, we just kept our heads down and did our work and tried to do it really well. But in the last 2 years, we made a concerted effort to get out in the community, to speak at different congregations and to attend conferences and community meetings so that people will know more about our work, know more about us. So a couple of things has happened as a result of that. The number of individual donors has increased, which is pretty critical because our grants do not fill the need of our folks coming in here. And secondly, it kind of helped propel what we think is part of our job as well, and that's to expand the perception of the community at large about who this population is that's coming home from prison. A lot of people don't know that 98% of folks that are in prison today will one day be out. So it just behooves someone to, one, be concerned about the treatment inside, and also to be concerned and supportive of what reception is waiting for them and what assistance is waiting for them coming out. So when you talk about the community, we're infusing the community with enthusiastic workers, with folks that are dedicated to kind of doing it right, maybe for the first time in many years, if not their lives. We're helping to be a part of the reintegration of families. That is really critical when you talk about the health of a community at large. And then our recidivism rate is about 10%. So that means 9 out of 10 folks aren't going back. And those that are, the majority of them are going back for technical violations and not new crimes. So our folks are not reoffending, they're not harming folks. They're integrating in a more succinct way than ever before. And so I think we become a part of the community in that we haven't rung those bells that touch people's fears and that kind of thing. And so it's this neighborhood in particular, this building, we've been in this building 2 years now. And this building was in very bad disrepair when we came in here. Now it's a jewel in this community. It's lit up, it's clean, it's, you know, we have zero landscaping out front. And, you know, when people drive by or walk by, you know, they look at it and they're not afraid of the folks that are coming in and out of here. And so we like that. Second Chance Center I founded in February of 2012. In the first 13 or 14 months, it was just, I like to call it a mobile unit in my car. And a mentor of mine, John Riley, he asked me, when I finally parked the car and was able, because of the sub-grant, to bring on Sean and Adam, he asked me what I saw for Second Chance Center in the next 5 years. And at the time I said that I wanted us to be the preeminent reentry agency in Colorado and a model for the nation. And here it is. We're almost 5 years past that time now. And we literally are the premier reentry agency in the state of Colorado. And I say that with no immodesty. I'm proud of it because it speaks to our folks coming out here and doing what they're supposed to do and not harming folks and paying their taxes and, but I also said that I wanted it to be a model for the nation. And so we've been able to have a lot of successes. We've been blessed with legislative kinds of support. And I would hope that at some point we would be the template for other small nonprofits in other parts of Colorado, but also across the country, to do this thing a little differently. When people talk about best practices, believe me, I understand the meaning behind that and the data that supports this position of best practices. But I also get a cringe inside when I hear it because we've had some horrific and unsuccessful and should be unsatisfactory outcomes for many, many decades using best practices. So here at Second Chance Center, we say, why not some better practices? And that's what we're trying to establish, and we hope to be able to do that and be the model for that kind of thing going forward. God willing. You see that a lot. You see it on different things. The Second Chance Act, in particular, the federal program for supporting different kinds of services like ours. But more personally, I think it's not something we give people. We're not, and we don't like being in the position of provider and our folks as recipients. That power dynamic, we're not about that. I think second chances are opportunities that are presented, and people have to grasp onto them and make the most of them. And when I speak about the beginning of this thing with Sean and Adam and myself, I mentioned it once before when someone was doing a video about us, that we were literally buried in prison. And we believed the only reason we were blessed to come out here was to do what we're doing. Being a part of a structure or a mechanism that can help people find that second chance at getting life right. So if we're being technical about it, for many folks it's their third and their fourth and their fifth. But I think when we were born into this world, we were born with everything that the human being needs to survive. We were a perfect creation in that way. And our lives, for whatever reason, took us further and further away from that perfection, that connection to our beginning. And so I think maybe it's a second chance to get that right, to reconnect to the power that started this whole thing, and that will take us where we need to go in our lives.